What's up, guys? My name is Miles.
And my name is Fez.
And this is The Commodity. And today we are reacting to the 2022 Perodua Myvi facelift. This video was requested by Cheap. I know a lot of you guys requested us to check out.
Yeah, there was like 5 people.
Yeah, a lot of you guys asked us to check.
Well.
Yeah, to check this out.
Yeah.
We picked this video specifically because we do like Paul Tan's channel.
Yes.
And it just so happened that Cheap requested this one, so thank you so much. We truly appreciate it. We can already tell off of the bat, just from this first screen shot of the car, that it's much sleeker.
It's much newer looking. Everything about it, straight off the bat, is drastically
100%.
better.
But guys, before we hop into this video, if you would, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. It truly helps us out in getting this out to more people. Also, if you would, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. That way you guys can stay informed on our future videos. And if you'd like to help support the channel even more and get a YouTube short shout out, click that join button down below. So let's check out the new facelift.
100%. So the first thing I noticed is it says it's the DCVT transmission. It's so funny, guys. So I'm selling cars again, Nissans to be specific, and we have, you know, CVTs literally in almost every Nissan outside of the trucks and stuff like that. And so, but I believe the DCVT is just like the one that they had in Toyota, where it's got the first speed is an actual gear. I could be wrong, because eCVT is also Toyota, but that's like an electronic gear selection type thing. But I'm curious of with all this level 2 ASA 3.0, 5% better FC, 20% faster 0 to 100, I'm guessing kilometers, or 62 miles per hour. So let's hop into this.
That's a drastic difference.
Yeah.
20%.
This is it, guys, the new 2022 Perodua Myvi facelift, the new king. Now it gets dressed in new clothes both outside and inside, plus a whole lot more tech to keep it up to date with the Artiva. Plus, on top of that, there's a brand new transmission, a DCVT taking place of the 480. But of course, it also gets brand new price list, with prices going up per variant compared to before.
So it starts at 46 RM. So that would be
roughly 17.
46. Right under 11,000. Okay.
I was way off. No, it should, if it's a quarter.
Everything you need to know about the new Myvi.
It's not a full quarter, and then it tops out at 59. So
it's almost 15.
The top 14. Of the line is 14,000.
It's literally $3,000 difference. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, for a top of the line, yeah, 100%. I mean, if the safety standards are higher than the previous model,
which I hope so.
Yeah,
based off of just the lighting in the front and the body, the styling looks drastically better.
I would imagine it's more reinforced.
Or I'm just thinking of just the basic safety, like technology type stuff.
Right. Because this would be one of the cheapest cars in the United States.
So, fun fact, we've got the cheapest car that I've seen in a long time at our dealership. It's a Nissan, what's the little one? Versa? $18,000. Is 4-cylinder, CVT transmission. It's not fast by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a great entry level car, because $18,000 is unheard of in the U.S.
Right.
And I promise you, we're not selling it for $18,000. It's gonna sell for like 22.
Yeah.
It's the only Versa we have, and we sell Versas left and right. So
the market's tough right now.
Are y'all having the same issue with the market? Are y'all like your dealerships?
Is there a vehicle shortage?
Yeah, like our dealership, outside of like our 60,000 Armada. Everything else we have like 1, 2, maybe 5.
Yeah.
So coming up right now.
What does AV stand for?
Automatic transition.
While it may not feel like it,
Words.
especially with the last 2 years, it has been a full 4 years since the third generation
Okay,
Myvi
pause it
was
right there.
launched
That's the
in
older body
2017.
style, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's drastically cooler
Yeah, the front
looking on
end's
the front end.
much sharper.
And I think the wheels look a little bit bigger.
Yeah, they do.
In fact, it's 4 years almost to the day to the new
about the
version's mid-November launch.
But the
also,
front end
before
is
we get
drastically
into it,
better.
note that this is a midlife facelift, not an all-new model. So keep your expectations in check. And in fact, as far as Perodua facelifts go,
Yeah, those
this
are
one goes
all-
further than usual.
All LED headlights. Maybe like the blinkers incandescent or whatever. LED fog lights. I'm curious if those are daytime driving lights as well. I see the front sensors. I like how it's high gloss, piano gloss grill, as opposed to just that matte black, like textured grill.
Right.
So
I'm already seeing a lot of big pros on this thing.
Yeah.
Visually, there's a striking new look, especially with the whole new front bumper over here. There's a lot of leading lines, sharp edges for a very edgy new look compared to what we've seen before. If you look closely, there's a lot of small little lines over here, all leading to the center for a more aggressive look than before. The main grille is now much larger, extending far lower than the headlamps. This gives the Myvi a more prominent look, while drawing closer to a more streamlined family design language along with the Altiva SUV. Put it side by side with the previous version, it's quite a significant
That's
visual
crazy
change.
different.
Yeah.
Take a step back
Here,
and
go
you'll
back.
see an X. It's
So they kept the
But
headlights.
to be fair, this one isn't the top of the line like this one is, because they showed us the old body style. The old one had the same wheels still,
Yeah.
and so like this one isn't the best comparison because it doesn't have the fog lights and things like that.
But the fog lights were still round
Right.
style, where these are LED. Everything is gloss on this one. Looks like that's very textured.
Yeah, and they kept like this big prominent piece right here is much more refined.
It's
and
more like
sleek.
integrated. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the headlights look like they're more integrated into the body itself.
And I don't know if this is like a top of the line body kit style thing with the side skirting and this front diffuser type
I
deal.
mean, that could just be the same trim level. And they
Because
just
if it's the
upgraded
same
it.
trim level and it's just upgraded,
They changed it
that's-
drastically.
Yeah.
It's a lot different.
Yeah.
It's quite a significant visual change. Take a step back and you'll see an X theme on the front bumper, somewhat similar to the X concept shown at Klim's 2018.
See, I'm thinking like
the new
the,
cranberry red color is also similar
Lexus
to the show car. Exclusive
design.
to the top Myvi AV, the new paint job is much darker than the more orangey pearl de lima red on the Altiva,
That's a
and
good-looking
appear
car
far more
too.
exclusive than the lava red that is still available on lower Myvi variants. The headlights are brand new with a small cutoff at the inside edge. There's also a connecting chrome strip that ties it together with the
Yeah.
new grille. Now you may be asking, if Perodua is already designing new headlamps for this facelift, why didn't they go further with it? Perhaps with slimmer units like what they did with the Beza facelift.
I don't think it
Well,
needs it.
to do that with the Myvi would also require fitting new front fenders, which would be too costly for a facelift. Perodua says it has already spent around 50 million ringgit for this midlife update. Still, the designers have added more
I've never
black
heard it
housings
used
inside the
like that,
headlamp for them
midlife
to
update.
appear
I
slimmer
like it.
than before. All new are the LED daytime running lights fitted
Okay,
for the very
daytime.
first time as standard on a Perodua.
That's cool.
This
Oh, that's
is perhaps
standard.
one of the most requested features.
So that is dope then. that
Yeah.
it's standard.
Yeah.
So then that goes back to
For a trim level like this,
well, yeah.
like a cost of a vehicle like this.
Among customers, so better late than never.
Like an
and yes, the
X50 or
Altiva
whatever
has them
would
too,
make more
but only
sense.
as part
Right.
of the Blaze Gear Up body kit. However,
Or the
the
Tiva.
vertical strips are positioned on the front bumpers of the new Myvi, replacing the fog lamps entirely instead of being integrated within the full LED headlamps. At the bottom is a new front skirting finished in gloss black with a silver trim down the middle that's styled almost like an SUV skid plate. However, together with the DRLs, these are only fitted on the 1.5H and 1.5 AV variants. In comparison, the 1.3G and 1.5X models have a much cleaner looking face.
So they still look
Well, they got rid of the LEDs. There's no light in there. Because if you go back, see how it has a light right there?
yeah.
Comparison, the 1.3.
He said a standard.
So they
though.
got rid of the side skirts. The wheels went downgraded. Unless this, no, it's the
But
same.
to be fair, this doesn't look right either.
That's how the other one looked. The old body style.
They kept that uncovered.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the angle that we're in that we can see underneath the car.
Right.
Like if you go up to your car and you get at the right angle, you'll be able to see, because all this is your jack point,
Right.
like the pinch welds where it connects some of the safety metal, like some of the more like rigid stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, the look is still there, and I feel like you should be able to add LEDs, like the daytime drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went from the gloss piano black grille to the more textured,
Right.
which again, I mean, you're still getting. It looks like you're keeping the same headlights, which to me is more important. Like if I can have a bright LED headlight over some fancy accented daytime drivers,
Right.
I would prefer the headlights. And I don't think they need to change those headlights.
No, that's what he was saying was the headlights were changed.
No, I'm talking about the design, the sleeker, because he was talking about how they didn't sleek them down a little bit
yeah.
because they would have had to replace the entire fender.
Yeah.
And honestly, even when they do a heavier change, I would want to keep that general design, because even Audi does that kind of stuff. Like their head, like the Volkswagen, really, they kind of just squished them up a little bit sleeker, but they kept the same shape.
Right.
So I think they should stick with that shape because I think it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
You could and you could get rid of these DLRs and add the DLR right here, kind of like maybe like a Tesla, or even do all the way around, kind of Nissan-ish. But there's a lot of room to play with this design.
Yeah.
G and 1.5X models have a much cleaner looking face. To me, it kind of looks like someone who has just shaved off his beard after a really long time. A bit too young and fresh, perhaps. Onto the side, the 2022 Myvi retains the exact same wheels as before, 14 inches on lower variants and 15s on the upper models. While this may look like a strange decision for a facelift, the existing wheels already have premium touches like a dual tone look and machined finish.
I hate the dual
so
tone.
it fits the facelift look just as well. It also helps that the original wheels also look very good to begin with.
They do
Another
look
small
decent,
change
though.
are the black side mirror caps, which
got
is
the-
standard on all Myvi variants,
blinker
just
on the
like
mirror.
on the Ativa. At the back, there's very minimal changes, just this new, more chiseled and sharper look to the rear bumper. Now, this matches the front look as well, but beyond that, it's pretty much the same as before. The same top spoiler, the same taillights, even the badging's exactly the same as before. Overall, the exterior facelift is quite substantial as a whole,
The
but I guess
Myvi
we have to
logo
wait a
looks
little
so
longer
dope.
for a
Yeah,
more
it's a
sporty
good look.
Myvi GT or SE, along with
sick.
the clear tail lamps
Brembo
and bigger
brakes.
wing.
That
Inside,
might be a
again,
bit
is very
much.
familiar
Yeah.
to what we already know from a Myvi, but this time there's a whole lot more rich.
So I think a full Brembo brake kit is like $2,000 to $5,000
Yeah.
depending on your car. This car cost, well, maybe that trim level costs closer to like 18 to 20,000
Right.
USD. So, but still, that's a quarter of the cost of the vehicle is the
Yeah.
brakes.
As you can see from the seat over here, plus a bit more red around the aircon vents,
That's a good-looking
and even
interior.
the new meters. A more meaningful change is the
That
brand
looks-
new steering taken from the Ativa SUV.
Let's take a look at this
Plus,
steering wheel. So,
meaningful change is the brand new steering taken from
let's see here. So it's got lane departure. It looks like, so if it doesn't have it, it looks like they have
It's got
options.
automatic cruise control.
Oh yeah, right there.
Right there,
Yep.
yeah.
Trip. I don't know what that is.
Power.
Of some sort, yeah. You know, it'd be dope if manufacturers would put their start button right there.
What if that's what it is?
That would be awesome. Like if they did that, that would be super sick. You just push that little, you put your key in like the ignition, like Ferrari style,
Uh-huh.
and then you just push the power button. Whoa.
Yeah, it's got
little bit of a dream.
auto high beams.
Yep.
It's got the collision
Detection.
Yeah.
All your,
The speed.
I've always hated this button, the mode button. I even tell my customers whenever I'm selling it, like they're always like, what does this button do? And it's like, you know how you can just push the button for FM or AM or XM radio or Bluetooth or whatever the case may be? yeah, this will make you go through AM1, AM2, AM3,
Right.
FM1, and then so on and so forth. And I'm like, and they're like, oh, okay, I get it. I'm like, yeah, exactly. But no, this is actually really good. You got your speaker, like where you say something, your pick up and hang up. And I'm curious of what else you could add on, what other features they would add.
I wouldn't know of what else could be added right there.
Yeah, either do I. This thing is pretty loaded out.
Yeah.
The Artiva SUV, plus a new, bigger touchscreen head unit, again with the new interface from the Artiva as well.
That's pretty dope.
With the red highlights on the Artiva being well received by customers, Perodua has doubled down with the new Myvi. The Artiva being well received.
I hate to admit it, I really like this design. It's so boxy and old-fashioned looking. It's new. Like it's gotten so old that it's kind of new design. This right here, I love that.
And there's that pop-out cup holder.
Yeah, Lamborghini style, just like the Performante Huracan. But I love this. I don't know why, because ours are like in rows and like in different like levels on a lot of our cars that we sell.
Right.
And I just like it all just be like spaceship style. You know what I mean?
Received by customers, Perodua has doubled down with the new Myvi. The seats especially now have more red than black,
That's
and
sexy.
even
That's
the shade
sexy.
of red is brighter than on the
That's
SUV.
dope.
It will be interesting to see if the red seat bases will stand up to wear over time. The
It
seats
should.
are full leather on the Myvi AV, so no, you don't get the suede bits like on the Artiva. The seat belts are also plain black, not red like in the Proton Iris Active. The other red bits on the dashboard have more function to them. The original design had chrome rings around the aircon vents, but owners soon realized that they have the tendency to reflect sunlight into the driver's eyes. So now the trim pieces are finished in silver in the lower versions and red on the AV. The new red meter cluster is only on the AV2 with a sporty look that is actually quite similar to the 2011 Luggy Power Luggy Best Myvi SE.
I like that one.
The color multi
I think that's the
display
old
is
one
also
too.
unique to the new AV.
I mean, that's
with
not bad.
Extra
There's
controls
nothing,
for things like the blind spot
like,
monitor
stand
and
out,
turn
if you
signals.
ask me.
Other variants get a simpler set of
It's
white
got rear
meters
cross
with a
traffic
monochrome
alert.
screen taken from the base Artiva X. Either way, the meters have gone back to the Optitron-style electroluminescent cluster, so they appear completely blacked out until turned on. The first generation Myvi already had this before being downgraded to the backlit meters
I
in
like
the second
that.
generation
Yeah.
facelift
I like that a
in
lot.
It's old
2015.
school.
That's old school. That is very old school. That reminds me of like
A
like
370Z.
yeah, or a Integra, or yeah, like Nissan, old school Hondas, like the ones that you have to replace
Yeah.
to make it look like that. I love this actually. It makes me nostalgic,
However, there is still no temperature gauge to be found anywhere.
which is
The
insane.
new steering
Yeah.
is taken directly from the Artiva and it looks much better than the previous version. However, it has quite a few blank buttons on them, even on the top spec AV, which looks a
Oh.
bit off. The
So
lower
it doesn't
variants
have
less
anything.
and
Oh.
less buttons too.
I would have left the same toggles there, even if they didn't work. Like the spaces, like fill it up, because that looks bad. It looks uneven. Like how like this, like how they just put caps.
Mm-hmm.
They should have done caps on the steering wheel as well.
Right.
I think that looks poorly.
Even on that one, it looks like it's got the forward collision warning.
and the automatic high beams.
Yeah.
And the auto start stop. I think that's what that one is on the
that's-
very far
I
right.
hate that.
Everybody hates
And
that.
it's got the push button. So if this is the base model, it's still,
got a lot of options.
yeah.
The
which
stereo's
look
a
really
little
cheap. The 1.3G doesn't even
Yeah.
have any buttons on them, in fact. As for the seats,
Oh.
the
So this is
1.3G doesn't even have
the base
Wow.
base.
Okay.
With no
See,
buttons on the steering
I'm
wheel.
fine with that.
But it still has
Automatic
if this is-
high- yeah.
If this is correct, which is cool.
Yeah, but because I think it's more safety related.
Mm-hmm.
But the steering wheel like this is fine because it's even.
Mm-hmm.
But you put that one little D-pad looking thing on one side and then just leave the other side. It looks so uneven and drives me nuts. And again, it feels like they could spend a few dollars on the stereo. Tell me there's aftermarket brands that are a couple $100 or $100 that are
Right.
better than that.
Yeah.
The technology's there. That's just, like, hey, we can do this because it's the lower trim level.
Yeah.
have any buttons on them, in fact. As for the seats, the 1.3G and 1.5X get plain fabric upholstery with red side bolsters, while the 1.5H gets a new snakeskin-like fabric design.
That's kind of cool too.
Another
I'm okay with
change
that.
is the key fob, now matching the Artiva. The touchscreen head unit on the 1.5H and AV now has a slightly larger 6.9-inch display and the latest control interface
HDMI
like the
plug-in.
Artiva. Unfortunately, there's still no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto support, although SmartLink screen mirroring for Android is still available. However,
much
the
can that
reverse camera
cost
is
to
only
add?
for the AV.
Again,
the
you
X
can
and
buy Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, stereos
A couple $100
at Best Buy for $300.
And it's on base model cars here.
Right.
And I mean, as big as the company is, Perodua, or really any car company at this level.
Well, you got to look at it like this. I mean, that's like my car. My car's the top of the line for what it is, but they didn't give me a hydraulic hood. Like the hood doesn't stay up. You have to actually use the rod to keep the hood up. When some base model cars,
My car has that. My car
I think
is
the
like
Optima,
10 years older than
right?
yours.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like companies don't spend that tiny amount of money
because they don't
just
want
because
to.
they don't want to spend that tiny amount of
Yeah.
money.
Even though it'd make it a little bit better.
If they can save a penny here and a penny there, it adds up.
Yeah, I guess.
NG
It's not
variants
easy,
get
it's
a
not
button
fair,
type head
but-
unit, which is fine for this price range. But the lack of Bluetooth on the G, I think,
See, that's
goes
crazy.
against all the good work Perodua has done in elevating safety standards for
Yeah.
cars in Malaysia. Further down, the icon controls have a small update too. There's now a new off button, so users can just use that instead of pressing the fan down button repeatedly to switch the AC off. The two memory settings are still there, but you'll have to cycle through them with a single button. Another new
Still
addition
kinda
is the
cool.
dash cam on the top variants. Together with the solar and security window tint already fitted, means that the Myvi arrives in a perfect buy and drive condition. There's no need to spend extra cash at accessory
That's
shops
cool that it
anymore.
comes with a
Speaking
dash
of
cam.
accessories, as usual, there are a few gear up add-ons available at
You gave a dash cam in with the top trim level, but you couldn't put Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Right? Right? Like, to be
Which, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Apple is as popular in Southeast Asia. I could be completely wrong.
I
But
think the phones are just really expensive there.
right.
To be fair, a lot of our viewers also have Galaxy Notes, which cost more than an iPhone.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I think Android is more
Just
popular.
more popular. Yeah.
I could be wrong. That's just what I've gathered.
Yeah, here, my entire dealership, I'm the only person that has an Android.
Yeah. I mean, Apple pretty much runs the market here. Now, there's a
certain
huge
extent.
cult for Android.
Which is dying down. I haven't heard a lot of the arguments in a long time.
Yeah. But you could at least have like Android Auto.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on.
as
It's a
options
safety thing.
like
Give it to
leather
'em,
seat
Perodua.
covers, LED scuff plates,
That's cool.
mesh carpeting, and even floor lighting. There
That's
are no
cool.
body kits available at launch, however, those are likely to come in a few
Oh.
months' time. Beyond that,
So
it's
maybe
the
that
same
doesn't even
ultra
come with it.
practical Myvi
Or remember that,
G3
that
interior that
Gear
has
Up
made it the
company.
Yeah.
That is their aftermarket parts company.
So maybe that body kit doesn't even exist, truly.
best-selling
The-
car in Malaysia
the
for
front
4 years running.
Yeah, it
The
does.
integrated
Well, he
toll
just
reader
said
is
it's
still
the-
here, giving
Listen.
it an Malaysia. It's the same, however, and even floor lighting. There are no body kits available at launch, however, those are likely to come in a few.
No, he's talking about the actual body kits.
Okay.
Like
because
like
that
with
to
the-
me doesn't need to be changed.
like with the Ativa, there's like legit like body kits.
right.
Months time.
I wouldn't change
Beyond
that.
that,
That
it's
looks
the same
perfect to me.
ultra practical
Right.
Myvi G3 interior that has made it the best-selling car in Malaysia for 4 years running. The integrated toll reader is still here, giving it an
That's so
edge
cool.
over the Ativa together.
But
with
everybody
the
said that's,
anti-snatch
like,
handbag hook
old-fashioned.
Yeah.
and handy teh tarik hooks on
I
the
think
seats.
it's cool.
I think it's
Interior
great.
space is also class-leading with more legroom in the back than the Ativa. Tall adults
He's
can
got
fit
your
in the
shirt
back
on.
just fine, and the
Yeah.
backrest angle is quite comfy too. But on the other hand, most of the existing drawbacks of the Myvi cabin is still here. The rather small seats are still the same as before, and the steering wheel only adjusts for tilt, not reach. Like before, there's no center armrest and rear aircon vents either. The boot is also unchanged at 277 liters, which is respectable for the class, especially given the full-size spare tire under the floor.
That's nice.
Oh wow.
Now onto the mechanical bits. The 2022 Myvi uses the same engines as before, 1.3 and 1.5 liter dual VVTi 4-cylinder engines as before.
Is there no filter on the intake?
What is that? No, that's just a.
Now onto the
No, that's just where the intake goes.
Well,
and
that's
then,
the air box.
Yeah. So it
So-
flows. If the air flows in through here, the fresh air goes in here,
And it goes
filters
through the
out,
filter.
and then goes
I'm
in
dumb.
through the intake.
But that's so weird, though.
Because I think most of the cars that we have will somehow work its way to the front of the car
Right.
in some way.
Yeah, because that's sucking in some hot air.
Yeah, it's like literally right. I'm guessing it's missing. Here, go back just a little bit.
especially given the full-size spare tire under the floor. Now onto the mechanical bits. The 2022 Myvi.
Yeah, see, I think it's flanged out, like it's got a. It comes out on the edges as if something needs to connect to it. That probably causes it to curve. Because it also looks like there's something missing right here.
Myvi uses the same engines as before,
Like a
1.3 and
airflow
1.5
sensor of some
liter
sort?
dual VVTi 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engines. No turbo here, so numbers stay the same at 94 horsepower and 121 Newton meters for the 1.3.
I think it's
and
just missing a
102
piece.
horsepower and 136 Newton meters for the 1.5. What's been completely changed is the gearbox. Number one, there's no more manual option available for the Myvi. Before you start complaining, know that out of the hundreds of thousands of Myvi G3s sold in the past 4 years, less than 1% of the customers chose the manual. Numbers do not lie,
They took
so
the
that's
manual
the
from
end
the
of that.
Kia Soul as well.
Number
and
two, the
Forte, I
Myvi's
think.
long-serving 4-speed
And the
automatic
Rio.
has been swapped out in favor of the DCVT from the Artiva. This dual-mode continuously variable transmission is the latest gearbox technology from Daihatsu and is the world's first split gear system. Here it has been transplanted into the existing Myvi platform, which is the first time the DCVT has ever been fitted to
It
a
needs to be dropped
non-DNGA
hard.
car.
Yeah.
If you have doubts on CVTs in general, do know that we've tested it on the Artiva and found it to be very, very good in
That's a
terms of
good looking
response, smoothness, and even refinement.
It kind of
Perodua
has a
claims that
British
with the
look to it.
DCVT, the Myvi is now 5 and
It
even
kind of has a British look to it. The Ativa.
Oh, I was like, that's not the Myvi.
No, right.
refinement.
It does.
Perodua claims that with the DCVT,
Taller, not
the
wider,
Myvi
yeah.
is now 5% more fuel efficient than before, with the 1.3 claimed to do up to 22.2 kilometers per liter, and the 1.5 up to 21.1 kilometer, both increased by 1 kilometer per liter. What's far more significant is the acceleration times, which is up to 20% better with DCVT. The 0 to 100 times are claimed to be 11.5 seconds for the 1.3 and 10.2 seconds for the 1.5. 20% is a big
that's not
upgrade no
far off
matter
from
how
its
you
class.
look at it.
Yeah.
And like on the
Well, we don't
Artiva,
ha- I
there's
don't know if
also
we
a
have
power button
anything
on
in
the
its
steering wheel that
class.
gives slightly better immediate acceleration.
I'd say the Versa's in its class. That's just a hatchback.
Versas are big.
I really think.
They got rid of their small cars because they used to have the Versa.
Because even the Rio, that would be in the Rio's class.
I think the Rio's gotten bigger than this. Like I don't think we have a car that's this small anymore. Because I think this would be the same size as like the Mitsubishi Mirage.
No. The
I think it
Mitsubishi.
is Mirage.
Is it the Mirage?
Yeah. Because they're talking 1.3 liter. Now, I know they have 3-cylinder engines and stuff like that we don't have, but like I don't think anything's that I can think of. Because the Versa is the smallest that we have, and there's no way this is as small as a Versa. Or smaller, as big as a Versa, sorry.
I don't know.
Acceleration for quick overtaking maneuvers.
That's what
Another
sucks is
aspect
we
that's
can't
been
see them in
improved is
person.
refinement. The
Well, we
DCVT
will
is said
see.
to have a
Yeah.
gear ratio split that's comparable to an 8-speed automatic, allowing for lower engine RPM at cruising speeds. That should make highway trips more comfortable. Another minor change is the S and B driving modes in the gear lever, replacing the 3 and 2 modes
Slow
from
and
before.
fast.
S is for
Fast.
sport, while B is for braking when
It's a
going
break.
downhill.
Yeah.
As for
Toyota
safety,
has
the
that.
Myvi has now been upgraded to the latest advanced tech on the Artiva. It's actually amazing to see how quickly the Myvi safety features have been updated. Launched in late 2017 with ASA 1.0, it was then given ASA 2.0 in mid-2020. Now comes ASA 3.0. Brand new features include adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, blind spot monitor, and rear cross traffic alert on the AV variant. That's level 2 semi-autonomous driving on a Myvi. It's hilarious to think that the Myvi has not had any form of basic cruise control ever before, to now having full-blown ACC. The only downer is, like the Artiva, it only works between 30 and 125 kilometers per hour, so there's no low speed follow or traffic jam assist just yet. Other variants, except for the base model, get an upgraded ASA 3.0 too. The AEB, or Autonomous Emergency Braking function, now works at up to 120 kilometers per hour, and it can also detect both motorcycles and bicycles.
Nice.
The cameras can detect cars at night too this time.
Pedestrians.
Also new to the Myvi is Auto High Beam, standard on all variants, bar the base variant. There are also seatbelt reminders for all seats now, including the rear passengers.
Yep.
Airbag count is the same as before, 4 for lower variants and 6 for the rest. Electronic stability control is standard across the board. Now lastly, the prices. With all the enhancements and new features, it's inevitable that the Myvi would be more expensive than before. There are now 5 variants minus the base manual, of course, starting at just under 46,000 ringgit for the 1.3G. You can then add on ASA 3.0 to the 1.3G or 1.3G plus if you will, making it just under 48,000 ringgit. A new variant, the 1.5X, goes for an even 50,000 ringgit, while the 1.5H is 54,000 ringgit. The top of the line 1.5 AV stands at 59,000 ringgit. The top 2 variants have seen their prices go up by 4,000 and 6,000 ringgit respectively, which is a big amount in this price range. Mind you, these are all prices with 0% SST, so by July 2022, we'll have the Myvi breaching the 60,000 ringgit mark. But believe it or not, that still wouldn't be the most expensive Myvi to date, as the Myvi Extreme from 2011 was already priced at around 62,000 ringgit. So that's the new 2022 Perodua Myvi facelift, again setting new standards for everybody else to follow. New looks, new tech, a brand new gearbox, and new prices. So what do you think of all this? Let me know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching and stay safe, everyone.
See, the scary part is whenever they do these like light updates, it means typically, not always, but typically you're going to get a huge update in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So this car is going to be, you're going to be like, I finally got the latest, greatest, it's got the newest stuff.
Right.
And then bam, it's all completely changed. Your car just took this huge hit because it's the old body style and all this and that. So, and that's why you should never...
I see it.
I'm gonna kill it. And that's why you should never, we call it keeping up with the Joneses, trying to have the latest and greatest.
I got it.
One of these, this isn't the way to do it, especially in cars. You're gonna screw yourself over big.
Yeah. It is crazy though to know that the top of the line, to get all of those features you can get for less than $15,000. I mean, you can't find it. It is tough to find in this market a used car, a decent used car with lane keep assist and smart cruise control and things.
You're
like
just
that.
looking for a car that doesn't break down on you at that price,
right? Yeah, I mean, $11,000 to $15,000 used car is.
I mean, you can find something 15, but 11's really pushing.
Well, but when you're looking at the 15, you're looking at a used Versa,
Yeah,
or a
100%.
used Altima
100%.
base model. So that's insane that they've got it priced like this. So props to Perodua. That's awesome. The Myvi is a true
and it
road
still went
king.
up. It still went up quite a bit in price.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were able to keep it within a reasonable amount, because you can't add everything under the sun and then you go from a $10,000 car 1 year to a $25,000 car the next year, because nobody's going to be able to, that's in that price range, because I mean that's probably a tough car to have a family in.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure people can do it, but I bet you it's not the funnest.
I didn't kill it. It's on my headphones. You see it?
Yep. I just saw it crawl.
Yeah.
Crawl.
There it is.
Yeah, it did not kill it. It's inside the earpiece now.
I got it that time.
No, I literally saw it crawling in your earpiece on the left side. So that's going to be fun for you. Guys, are y'all planning on buying one of these? If so, what trim out of the 300 trim levels, which one are you going to pick?
Yes.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see our future videos, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification. And if you want to support us directly, hit the join button. And with that being said,
my name is Miles.
And my name is Fez.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Peace
Out.